Rookie lost the last stock, so.
Yeah, ended up biting him. And I mean, it was a super close set. It felt like Slip and Slide still hadn't fully caught on to all of the Mario stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like sort of like style grindy matchup that he had played. It worked out, you know. Yep, ends up winning over time. Just you kind of better character them long enough. And sometimes you draw it out. You have the better hitboxes most of the time. You can be less risky with your moves, right? And a rookie's like read percentage was very high, but just not quite high enough.
He didn't get enough F smashes, honestly. That's the Mario special. But sitting down, we have a kind of a treat.
Yes, we have a Genesis champion
versus a Genesis champion.
Oh yeah, Hungrybox too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I guess Hungrybox is pretty good. Also, not wearing the blue bow puff. You know, I guess it's a signature style.
That's true. That's true.
The green headband has kind of become like the Hungrybox color.
Yeah.
And you know, you have to be something special when a color that a lot of people use is yours.
It's interestingly though, Timebones actually gets to play against a couple of Puff mains in NC quite often. One of his training partners is Hi-Fi, who's another. He's a big brain.
I know
Puff
Hi-Fi.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So we'll see how that knowledge kind of stacks up against, you know, maybe like world-class level Puff.
Yes, world-class, best all-time Puff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a difference. And so the thing about Hungrybox is, when I was learning about like the history of Hungrybox a little bit from the people around, you know, Marth, I think most people would think has a favorable matchup versus Jigglypuff.
Yeah.
Like especially theoretically, in practice, maybe a little bit too. Hungrybox coming up had to play a lot of Marths, right?
That's true.
And well, I think one of the first things he really developed was becoming the Marth Destroyer on his rise towards the top.
Yeah.
And very quickly, you know, he became proficient in all the other matches. And people forgot that maybe that was like where he used to struggle or where a lot of his focus was in the beginning. But so very deep in his core, Hungrybox knows how to play against Marth players.
He was very famously, I remember at Apex, or maybe it was either Pound 4 or Apex 20-something. One of the older Apexes where he thought the matchup was really bad for Puff, even though he was beating Mewtwo King very consistently, Mewtwo King's Marth especially. But he was, you know, he said the matchup was, 65-35 even, and Marth's favor 7-3 even.
And I mean, we've come a long way because there was a point where, you know, Puff would try to wall with back airs, and then you would try to rack his percent with forward as a down tilts or whatever with Marth, and then you go for either up tilt or forward smash in neutral.
Right.
That doesn't cut it anymore.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
And you see he's just outside that range where Marth's aerial will hit, and he's just drifting in barely with those bears.
Yeah, the level of precision Hungrybox has to use to avoid those huge aerials is really interesting. You can also see that in some other matchups, Hungrybox is more likely to, you know, do a double jump, do a full hop. Hungrybox is staying relatively low to the ground in this Marth matchup.
We'll see if Timebones' experience against, you know, the other NC Puffs, Zaza and Hi-Fi and all them, how that pays off. Oh, the counter, I like it.
Yeah, we saw him use that earlier, I believe, too. Goes for all 4 hits, 4th one not getting a KO, but still super cool.
I know that Timebones loves the Dancing Blade.
Yeah.
It's one of his favorite moves like, ever.
And I mean, Dancing Blade first hit into up tilt has like traditionally been a floaty killer, although there is some smash DI you can do. Timebones actually finds himself up here at the beginning. We talked about the somewhat adaptive play styles, the readers getting better throughout the set. Hungrybox is definitely one of those guys who will learn. Yeah. He'll develop a strategy and he'll develop tactics simultaneously.
Oh no!
Oh, yeah, it's a shame for Timebones. He had a lead for a little bit there. Kind of gives it away. Hopefully he can end the stock before this gets out of hand.
Maybe we'll see that side B up tilt again. I gotta say, your timing on like calling certain things out has been immaculate. You say something, you know, you mention a technique or something, and then it happens immediately on screen.
It's like commentator's blessing.
Because they've all been good things, you know? Oh, no.
Yeah, the trick is, oh, we'll talk about that maybe after. Yeah, you see he's not able, it was actually nice DI from Hungrybox so that it couldn't be a simple side B up tilt, but also very nice from Timebones, recognizing that he's going to have to go for a forward air or up air rather than a side B. Yep, and you also see the Nair. Hungrybox has been staying quite low, so the choices that Timebones is going to need to use are going to be rising fair or falling fair, which usually will get hit by a back air instead. So he's been using a lot of neutral air instead to sort of like throw out the closest thing Marth has to an active hitbox.
Yeah. I've also liked the way Timebones has been, you know, kind of staying on ledge, waiting out his opponent's defensive options or corner holding options. Oh. But, you know, Hungrybox has been getting a little antsy in the corner. He doesn't necessarily force anything when Timebones is on the ledge. Because Timebones it's up to him to make it off, you know, back on stage. But
I also like Hungrybox, one of the Puff's most willing to use, probably partially, honestly, because of the, like, somewhat celebrity threat that he has. Like, everyone knows he's an amazing player.
Right.
He'll use his empty hops quite a bit with Puff, and not always to go into a tomahawk. Sometimes he'll do an empty hop, make it look like he's going to do a back air, and then just land. Someone will try to contest it with something like a neutral air, and that's where he gets his punish. We've seen a couple of them so far.
Timebones has gotten a good number of grabs on Hungrybox, but Hungrybox's DI on the throws has been pretty difficult to catch with, you know, the pivot tippers. Timebones has opted just to not go for them if he misses the pivot, I believe. So
Hungrybox actually some intense facial expressions. He shook his head after getting hit by a fair at a, you know, off the stage at the percent. Shakes his head after the side B up tilt. I think he wants really clean play. I think that's part of his mission. A victory for him might mean really consistent defensive play.
right.
Because I'm sure someone like him, after having, like we mentioned earlier on, for him a struggle, for anyone else an amazing couple of tournaments.
Right.
Maybe he's recognized that some of that has come from his defense.
Oh, he almost had it. But like you said, his redemption arc, right? He wants to take this very cleanly, do all the things that he thinks, or he would consider up to his standards in terms of his play.
And we've seen Timebones as a competent player, proficient player, but going, like, even with Timebones is not something I think Hungrybox would consider, like...
Yeah, up to snuff.
Yes, exactly. I do really like from Timebones what we've seen is he's been using that fair, and he doesn't aim at Jigglypuff. He aims at, like, where the extended foot of Jigglypuff might end up.
Yeah.
Keeps him quite safe. While waiting for a roll or something, dashes away not to get grabbed, not able to convert it into a KO.
Timebones also has been really trying hard to force this side B kill to the extent that he's kind of thrown his stock lead.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So there's this interesting, like, sort of dichotomy, and I've been thinking about it a lot recently, especially after Axe had that tight set. We end with the rest, solid edge guard from Hungrybox. Where it used to be like, you know, a very low level, you're like, oh, side B up tilt's going to kill. You only go for it.
Right.
Then you get to like a mid level or a high level, and you're like, side B's going to kill. Can't telegraph it. Don't do it because they know it's coming. They're going to avoid it. And then, like, I was watching Axe, and the guy just kept going for up smash the whole time to KO Hungrybox. And I'm like, wait a second. He knows it's coming. He knows you're going for it. Going for other things isn't going to trick him anyway.
Yeah,
Hungrybox knows nothing else is a threat.
Yeah.
Except for that up smash, really. And so sometimes, like, it's not telegraphing it. It's just the only option you have available that's going to accomplish what you need.
It's the right choice.
Yeah. So I'm saying you should still mix it up. And maybe he was going for side B a little bit too much. But it's something that's been on my mind recently. So, you know, if there's discussion to be had, tweet it at me.
Towards the end, though, Timebones was going for more regular side B stuff.
Yes.
So we'll see. If he can maintain, you know, kind of that. Once again, he went even with Hungrybox for you know, 3 stocks until they started side Bing a bunch.
I mean, super impressive performance. We've been talking about the different victories the players can have. I think that's a victory for Timebones. Going to turn it out with Hungrybox in even one game.
Ooh, nice catch. It's also a very different type of Marth style against Puff than, you know, Zane, for example, who is the prime example now.
Yes. Timebones kind of playing the spacing game, whereas Zane is the equivalent of that guy who goes for the tactical KOs, right? He's like, oh, I'm going to get the grab into pivot F smash. Yep.
There's a side B kill.
Side B KO. I guess it's going to work out on Yoshi's more often because of the very close blast zones. Stalling a little bit. Hungrybox, clean edge play.
But yeah, I feel like also Timebones has made a lot of his, you know, his game plan based on his defensive capabilities against Puff, which is pretty interesting. He's been really good about just barely avoiding Puff stuff, counter hitting Puff in a lot of spots.
Yep. Seen a couple pounds from Hungrybox. You get 1%, right?
Yeah.
1 hit, so he's still going to get his hit later.
The one that usually takes a stock too.
Yep. I like the grabbing the ledge from that back air. It doesn't go for the early up B. I thought he was going to. I guess Hungrybox might have too.
But you can see that, you know, he knows the timings at which he can sneak in an up B when he's recovering and things like that, because he's been edge guarded so many times.
Yes. Then every now and then he made it back. Yep, a crouch. Grab not going to work out. Yeah, I guess that's an interesting thing that probably most of the chat knows about. Low profile of Puff, able to avoid a lot of taller characters' grabs.
Marth being one of them.
Yeah, with the exception of the end of his dash grab. Everyone likes to talk about that, but
isn't the start of his dash grab?
I don't know if it's the start of the end. I kind of thought it was the end.
I'm pretty sure it's the start because you have to be right inside Puff at the start of the grab for it to connect.
I see. I kind of thought it was the end because it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, okay. I guess it's also one of the things that you have to kind of be wary of as a the higher tiered player, higher seeded player. This guy's going for kind of weird options with the side B, so they be aware of that. It's like I'm not used to these weird things, right? Because people don't do this normally against me because it's risky and kind of weird.
Yeah, it's definitely not the strongest option, but honestly, it's not the strongest option just in the Marth versus Puff matchup. But Hungrybox is one of the most practiced players against other players, out there. He's obviously very good at it. So you want to throw some things at him. So maybe taking what would be a suboptimal strategy, nice, and doing it as well as you can is better than going for just the standard, the cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah, now maybe Hungrybox is kind of expecting weird side beats at that spacing, and then Timebones just puts a lid on it, right? He's not doing them anymore.
Yeah, we have a very tight battle once again. Puff actually very close to KO percent already. Yeah, because the blast zones are so close. Timebones threatening to take a game. Hungrybox threatening to take the stock right now. Yes, a wall of pain, all the backers. Yep, Hungrybox able to take the set 2-0. Not without what I'd say is considerable struggle.
Yeah.
He looks to be happy with the result, but maybe not with
the play.
The play altogether. And you know what? I'm sure that over the course of a couple days, we'll be able to bring it together. And it could be partially a product of playing Ultimate for a while.
Yeah, he's been over Ultimate for quite a while. I feel like today.
I felt I was trying to tell the story and I didn't want to stop, but he was kind of walking by.
Oh.
So I was like, oh man, I'm not trying to trash talk or anything like that. I mean, obviously you guys know that too, but it's just he's already in his own head a little bit, like any player would be. Even the top players are in their own head, and I think
no one's immune.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you do have a strong mental game, I think a big part of it is recognizing wow, I'm in my own head right now, but it's still going to happen. Alrighty, and I think that's going to be it to us for now. So we will be back very shortly with more Melee singles. It's been real so far.
It was a pleasure, dude.
Yep, thank you,
Lots of fun every time, dude.
And shout outs to Recursion. Please follow the stream, and thank you, Save State, for your hard work. We'll see you guys later.